This conference will now be recorded.
Oh, you had a quorum problem today. Sorry about that. I was working on our little project from last night.
That's no excuse. I can be forgiving. Okay, so let's go ahead and call this meeting to order. It is 4:07. Can I get a roll call?
Here.
Chair Hildebrand. Madam Chair Arnold.
Present.
Councilor Odessa
Here.
and Councilor Coyne.
Here.
You have a quorum, ma'am.
Okay. All right, approval of the agenda. Does anyone have any concerns or issues? Yes, Councilor Oropesa.
No, I thought you were asking for a motion so we can,
Actually amend it or?
yes,
So,
to,
yes, go ahead and present your motion.
Madam Chair, I move for approval of the agenda with a slight change to move item number 5 in front of item number 1 and then renumber all the other ones.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of changing item number 5, item number 1, and moving the rest down, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
You gonna vote? Are you in favor of changing?
I don't know. Yes.
Okay. I don't know if need to ask if anyone needs to say no, because there isn't anyone else.
You're the.
You haven't voted.
Aye.
You scolded me and you forgot to vote?
Voices.
Oh, look at
Okay.
you.
All right, so next, can I get a motion for approval of the minutes? Did anyone have any concerns?
Move accept of the minutes as illustrated.
Second.
All those in favor of accepting the minutes as illustrated, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Get mine out. Okay. So I think before I'd like to get started, I'm actually going to give you a minute to introduce yourself if you and your group.
Sure. Afternoon, members of council. My name is Craig Manovich. I am a Utility Workers Union member, member of the Veterans Committee. Collectively, we are all here from across the nation as Utility Workers Union members to support Local 51. Also, I'm here to proxy for Rini Otero, the president of Local 51. He unfortunately can't be here because he is working a second job to supplement his income. I'll let that sink into you folks for a minute. We're urging you to approve the union's COLA increase. This is an important issue for them to receive with inflation increasing and the cost of living exploding across the country, to include here in Roswell. Also, you provided the utility workers unions with wage information that was found approximately 7% less rate than other communities. I'm here to let you know within approximately 30 miles, other public sector employers are making on average $10 more an hour than what you're paying your CDL qualified drivers here in your community. We collectively are urging you to match that with the surrounding communities before you even start to discuss wage increases by percentage when contract reopens for negotiation. Finally, as a fellow elected official in the community that I reside in, I'm going to let you know this. If my public works department made what your public works department makes here, I wouldn't make it past my first term as an elected official. We collectively do not want to come back here in November. Thank you for your time.
Actually, thank you for yours. Your message isn't falling on deaf ears.
Thank you. I appreciate the hearing.
If I could actually have you make a copy of that letter, I would like to make sure I keep it in my records.
I will gladly do that for you. Thank you.
Okay, so next, let's go ahead and start with our regular items for discussion. Number 1 now, resolution 23XX, participation in animal services community CAT program. Consider and recommend to the city council approval and adoption of proposed resolution 3-XX, participation in Animal Services Community Cat Program. Councilwoman Halverson,
Madam,
And before you go, I would like to point out the Best Friends representative is on the thing.
Yeah.
On the phone.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, just some background. Best Friends came here to the survey of our animal welfare establishment, had some ideas and tips, and has wanted to enter into a contract with the city whereby they would provide some management help and some funding resources. While negotiating, it became clear that the community cat program, which will be described by somebody more knowledgeable about it than me, was a kind of a must-have if we were going to continue in this negotiation. So similarly, at the same time in our ordinance, we say that animals cannot run at large, and we refer to the person who can't allow an animal to run at large as a responsible party. Party is not defined within the ordinance, but in the Black's Law Dictionary, a party is referred to as a person. Municipalities typically aren't persons. However, if you look at something like 42 U.S.C. 1983, the Civil Rights Act, municipalities are persons. So my thought is I would prefer to have a resolution that clarifies the council's position and it would carry the same number of votes as an ordinance. That would leave me more comfortable that we wouldn't be violating our own ordinance and that we could continue with contract negotiations with Best Friends. And with that, Councilor?
So yeah, the Best Friends group, they're known nationwide. They're experts at cleaning up animal control, and everyone can see we have problems over at animal control. Nothing against the staff. They're doing an amazing job with what they can. A lot of the problem we have is the people in this town just are not responsible owners. So I have Letty, she's on the phone. If she would like to say anything about the Best Friends, I have these flyers. I only have a few left if anybody wants to pass them around. And I did share a video the Best Friends made. The city, I think in Los Angeles, well, it's the city of Los Angeles. Where they implemented the program where people are against it. And they know, they're aware I'm skeptical of this, but I also am willing to try it because what we're doing right now isn't working. We're catching them. And I forgot, I didn't bring that list. Jim, do you know how many cats we're putting down?
No, I don't have it with me.
We're putting an awful lot down.
Yeah, daily.
We're spending a lot of money putting cats down. So the idea with the TNR is to catch the animals where they are, spay and neuter them, and then release them. We'll give them their shots and then release them. Then they stop breeding because that's the problem we have. They're just proliferating at a rate we can't keep up with. I did talk, Letty can probably go into more detail, but for the houses where the people don't want the cats, they can provide deterrents to keep them away. So Letty, if you want to.
Yeah, I want to thank you for bringing this forth. We really do want to help the city and animal services. They do a great job, but there's just so many of the cats, and that's why the trap, neuter, vaccinate, and return programs really do work. We currently have embeds helping with community cat programs in a variety of cities, including Las Vegas, El Paso, all around the country. And we want to work with a grant agreement to get some help into your shelter too. So we need this to pass so we can basically go forth with the grant agreement. And I was looking at the stats for this year, and I think the cat live release rate now is 45.8%. So the vast majority of cats and kittens that are coming in are not making it out alive at a huge expense. Basically, you have not only caring for them while they're there, but basically cleaning the cages, then euthanizing the animals and disposing of their bodies. So we want to bring help so we can try to, change that around like we've done in other communities. So again, if anybody has any questions, I'd be more than willing to answer. But thank you.
Thank you. The end goal here is to stop our cat population problem, but also we want to be able to bring, if we approve this, we can bring Best Friends in to help with all the problems. And they have come a few times and they've given tips and some advice on how to improve the services over there.
I just have to, she mentioned the grant, so this would actually help us qualify to receive a grant to pay for the services? Maybe?
Yes,
Okay.
This is like the first step, and then we would go into a grant agreement to try to bring an employee, we call them embeds, into the shelter to help your employees full-time, to look at the different policies, procedures, streamline things, and to help get the community CAT program started. So that would, we would negotiate with the attorneys and basically have somebody there helping for a year.
And I think what her point is on this is like, the question I asked you yesterday is how are we paying for the trap neuter release?
Basically, Best Friends would be willing to pay for the employee, and we would pay for some other things too, but that would be hammered out in the grant agreement. What we found is that it's actually cheaper to sterilize the cats, vaccinate them, and put them back out than it is to catch, keep them, and kill them. So again, I think you're spending a considerable amount of money right now doing that, and that would kind of shift over too into helping with the sterilization. But basically, in the long run, it will save you money.
I've actually seen this program in several other cities. It is actually very effective. And I have a mama cat that surrounds my house and she's pregnant again. So it's not mine, but does anyone have any additional comments or questions? Yes, sir.
Just I guess I am not too clear of how exactly it's going to work. Because if it's a grant just for an assistant to help at the animal control, does that mean that the city is going to have to come up with money for additional whatever?
So that would be part of the negotiation process.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just allowing us to more reasonably enter into there's no negotiation to be had if we don't adopt the program.
And I guess
But if the contract falls through, we don't have to execute the program.
I think it's a great program, but I mean, depending on how much it's going to cost us to help with it.
I think we can rely on, Jim, maybe you can come up with a cost comparison, what it costs us to take care of an animal and then to actually have it put down to versus getting fixed.
Will we just basically kind of be exchanging out funds? What we spent over here, we're now going to spend over here?
That's what I'm thinking.
Because the whole concept is to try to change that from where we're not killing them. We're just actually starting to control their population. But so the funding would pretty much just be moved over, reallocated. I know, Bob. I got to watch it with the funding.
I think what we're thinking of right now, we're spending, say, $50 to feed and kill the cat. And we can move that $50 over to catching it, spaying it, getting its shots and things.
Yeah, but you're talking about spading a cat and you're talking about a veterinarian expense.
But we have that when we put them down. So instead of putting them down with the veterinary cost, fix them with the veterinary cost.
If you cross over. Any further questions, comments? Anyone
I've
on?
already been threatened over this issue.
Oh,
so I'm
okay.
just-
Can't threaten anybody.
Since Councilor,
Think you're the only one that calls me?
I didn't threaten you.
since Councilor Ward has been threatened, I will,
Okay,
I will move.
wait, Mr. Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
In addition to exchanging costs for a while, within 5 to 10 years, the city would be saving a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because those colonies will die out.
Yes. And for the record, I'm sorry, can I get your name and address?
Sammy Leffler, Leflar, and it's 503 North Missouri Avenue.
Okay.
I'm with Friends of Roswell.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so seeing that there's no more comments, I'm going to go ahead and ask for a motion.
Madam Chair, I want to move that we recommend adoption of resolution 23XX for participation in Animal Services Community CAD program to be sent to full council.
Council.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second, so we go ahead and ask for those in favor of sending resolution 23XX for participation in Animal Services Community CAP program to full council. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. I keep forgetting to vote. Okay, all those,
Moving me up. And thank you, lady, for joining us. Thanks, that's for you. I'm off to my,
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
I have time.
okay, so now we're going to move to item number 2, RFP 23014 Airport Unarmed Security Guard Services. And we have Fisher speaking on this.
We go grab it. Yeah, so.
Bob, I know where you live.
Right?
This is where I slept last night, but I may not sleep there for a week or two. Yeah, I voted right. Yeah.
All right, so.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get Mr. Fisher.
Good afternoon. As most of you read, we're in need for a contract security service out on the airport to provide several services that we're going to have going in the future. And in order to do that, we have to follow the requirements of what TSA is putting on us, and we have to expand the manpower out there in addition to the RPD that we have in our checkpoints, which are required in the TSA checkpoint operations.
All right, any questions? Counselor, comments?
Got it.
Any questions from the room or online? We have anything, Fisher?
That'll be Mr. Head's question.
I didn't hear the question.
Are you looking to make them union workers?
Yeah, we got no problem with union workers. Just somebody has to, it's a bid, so whoever applies. Yeah, I mean, like, we want more bidders. So if you got a union shop that wants to bid, like, I'm totally happy to. I'm not on the committee doing the assessment, but you know that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, if I may real quick, being a regional airport, you are, I'm assuming that TSA is not required to have a presence at your airport?
Yes, they are required.
They are required? So is this ground security or is this security at your checkpoint for?
Ground security.
Ground security, gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you'll see the RFP will be posted at the city's website.
Thank you.
Okay, any further questions? All right, seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and call for a motion.
My turn?
Yep.
You're going to hold me to it, huh?
Well, the person that threatened you is not here anymore, so you're free to.
Okay, so I guess we need to move this for city council recommendation, approving the RFP scope for work United Unarmed Security Guard Service.
Second.
Okay. Full council or consent?
Oh, let's talk about it.
I prefer not consent, a regular agenda.
Okay. Full council?
If I'd wanted it on consent, I would have said consent.
Okay,
You know how I hate that word and the use of that.
but full consent and
No, full council.
full council, okay.
Jesus.
All right. Post up, Christina. Okay, so, all right, all those in favor of considering recommending approval of RFP scope of work for United Airport Unarmed Security Guard Services to full council, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So 3-0, that passes. 1 second here. All right. Next item is the pricing negotiation and construction phase service fee. Consider approval of March 28, 2023 pricing negotiation and construction phase services fee. And this is Ms. Brooks.
How are you doing? Madam Chair, councilors, we ask you today to consider moving forward to full council. The CES contract for Wade Construction to go ahead and move forward building the columbariums. The finances have been approved, and we're just ready to seek permission to award the contract.
All right. Any questions or concerns, counselors?
I think this is the third time I've heard bits and pieces of this thing.
I've been working on this since 2019.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think I got it.
I think it's been beat up.
Okay, time to move on.
Okay.
Or get off. I mean, we can still get off, I guess, but I don't think so.
Put it on consent.
No.
I didn't try. I just said council. I didn't say like anything else.
I heard.
I heard.
It's a simple word, you know.
I heard. Okay, so any questions from the audience or online? Kevin?
His turn.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
yes, I'll take a motion.
Okay, Madam Chair, I move that we send to full council with a recommendation to approve March 28, 2023 pricing, negotiation and construction phase services fee of land collaborative with Wade Construction Company proposal for the columbarium and Camilo Shelter project at South Park Cemetery.
Second.
Okay. So all those in favor of sending to full council the price negotiation and construction phase fee of planned collaborative, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ooh, I got it.
You're
Okay.
learning.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, so that passes 3-0. Okay, let's move on. Give me 1 second. Next item on the agenda is ordinance 23-XX, an ordinance to amend certain sections of the zoning ordinance, appendix A of the Roswell City Code pertaining to Article 52 Building and Performance Standards, sections 5 and 8. And review proposed ordinance and vote to recommend that the city set a date to advertise a public hearing, consider adoption of proposed ordinance 23-XX. So this is for a proposed, or to advertise for a public hearing. And Mr. Martinez, let's see what you got.
Thank you, Madam. So we're proposing an amendment to our Article 52, the Building Performance Standards, Section 5 regarding carports. We're proposing to add the text to relax the setback requirement for carports, and the text to read as carports are required to meet setbacks, have a building permit, and pass inspection. And front edge of a carport shall be located a minimum of 10 feet behind the front property line or behind the street side property line, and shall be located a minimum of 15 feet behind the back of curb or edge of the road, shall not encroach on the sidewalk, parkway, right of way, or easement, shall meet the side yard requirements for the zoning district, and have sites open for clear sight of sidewalk and right of way for vehicular and pedestrian safety. Community development staff shall have discretion to adjust measurements for safety or clear sight triangle concerns. This was passed by the Planning and Zoning Commission as written here. This is the proposal we'd like to make to move forward to have this section passed. We also had a proposal to update the height requirement for fences in the front yard to allow from 4 feet to 6 feet in a residential district, so long as it is see-through, such as chain link, wrought iron, something that you can see through that would not obstruct the sight of oncoming traffic.
All right. You happen to have any pictures?
So this is what I have here.
Okay.
Kind of give a visual here. The red line here, this is the buildable area in a lot. And the gold line here, this is what is currently allowed for an encroachment as far as an open porch or carport. It allows 5-foot encroachment into the front yard setback. What we're proposing is the green here. This would allow a carport to extend further into the front yard setback to allow coverage for someone's personal vehicle. This would give them more of a relaxation in that setback so they can protect their property. So from 2021 up until 2023 year, we had 26 permits for carports that have been processed. We have 4 permits currently pending. And in that same amount of time, we had 12 counted inquiries for carports that would require a variance. And then we had 7 more inquiries to allow a carport in their rear yard. This would require alley access that may or may not be allowed depending on what engineering would have on there. And another thing we have is we're taking a look at an average vehicle is approximately 15 to 20 feet in length. Those are for the smaller, more common vehicles. The standard requirements or the standard dimensions for a carport are anywhere from a 10 by 20 to a 20 by 20. This is how they sell in your prefabricated structures. So we're proposing that we would be able to allow at least these dimensions require that they meet the setbacks proposed. This is the visual that we're giving. So if you remove this, they only have about 5 feet to cover any vehicle that they have. By allowing this, we're giving them more coverage to protect their vehicles. Brand new vehicle, or any vehicle for that matter, just to give them a little more coverage when you consider the weather that Roswell has, intense heat, the friendly winds, hailstorms that are coming, would be a little more frequent. This would allow protection for their property. We're encouraging a property owner to develop their own property, to invest in their property. There's been this attitude for a while. It's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. This would encourage them to come in and ask for that permission where we can actually work with them to invest in their own properties. That's the goal.
Instead of tearing down, right?
Correct. Which we have done in the past.
Yes. Seen it.
Thank you.
Okay. Does anyone have any counselors? Yes, Councilman Corn.
Standalone, we're not talking about anybody who wants to add a carport to their house structure, correct?
Sorry, one more time?
This is for a standalone carport? This has nothing to do if I wanted to attach one onto the side of my house.
Correct.
Okay. Good.
It's very good.
All right.
Oh, yeah, actually, Councilor Corn, this would apply to either. So it's, the setback is what matters, but the carport could be removed from the house if the property is big enough in front. But for a smaller property, it's going to be connected to the house or directly abutting it.
Okay.
Are we talking about a carport or itself, just a carport? Are we talking about garage, enclosed garage, or?
This is specific to carports only, must remain open on all 4 sides, no sidewalls, no doors. This does not allow garages, no storage sheds, nothing like that. This is specific to carports only.
Because, once you build a carport, it's going to be kind of tempting to build the entire garage.
Understood. And with that, we can write more provision in here to state exactly that. This is only for a carport. This is not allowable to enclose at any time. That's what we're trying to push in here.
Is there any language on aesthetics? I'm not a big fan of it's not that I'm against metal, but if we're going to actually do this, I think there should actually be, an aesthetic requirement to it. I don't want just like a metal pop-up or something like that,
So that came up after the fact when we started thinking a little more about it. And we can certainly add that to, we can actually add a line specific to, say, the historic district there.
Right.
That it must be matching material to the main structure. That way it looks like an extension of the home and not a metal carport that may throw off the look or take away from the integrity of that specific neighborhood. And for others, where you take that same metal carport, you can require that they paint it and make it look so it blends with the home.
So
Okay.
Instead of being able to put, excuse me, Madam Chair, putting a prefab steel building up, you're gonna, and because I've got brick on my house, I have to build the corners out of brick because I can't enclose it, and I have to use, because I've got shingles on the roof, I have to use shingles for the roof. Is that what you're anticipating? You asked the question. Well, I understand. She asked the question, I'm gonna see what she has to say.
You're asking me or him?
Well, you're the one who brought it up.
Well, no, I just didn't want like a metal loose kind of thing flapping there. I wanted something that was at least solid and, I don't know, I'm not necessarily, I did see a couple that actually had brick because I had Mr. Martinez actually take me around and show me physically what our setbacks look like and what our constituents actually are having to deal with when it comes to trying to, determine what they can do with their own property. And there were some that were very nice, but there were also some that were just steel poles with a nice, roof, and they were painted to kind of match the house. It was aesthetically pleasing and it wasn't grandiose, but it also wasn't just a metal structure from Walmart.
Well, I think the real crux to this, besides getting setbacks and stuff, is that I have actually seen some of these prefab things in this wonderful wind we have just disappear down the street. And that's more of my concern than the appearance, because when it's new, it's going to look fine pretty much any place you put it. But
And those would be subject to inspection by the building inspector. I can't say for all of them. I've seen some of that as well. And I mean, I can speculate all I want that maybe these ones weren't permitted. I don't know for sure. But knowing that they would require a building permit, they'd be subject to inspection by the building inspector, and he would be the one to determine if these are structurally sound.
Nice, okay. That's good. Okay. I'm sorry, Ms. Rita?
Rita Kane Dorhofer, very narrow, unstriped Chicago Cubs mailbox, Mark Road, one member of the ETZ. This is not going into the ETZ, am I correct?
That's correct. This is city limits only.
Thank you.
Yes, Councilman.
One last question.
Yeah.
On the enclosure, does that mean no half enclosure either, or?
Correct.
So it has to be all open all the way through?
Yes.
And does this apply to corner properties as well?
Yes, especially the corner property or visibility, safety.
No, I'm talking about the 10 feet.
Yes.
Mr. Nahar?
Madam Chairman, committee, I oppose this setback change and these changes in the ordinance that they're proposing on the carports. The fence part, I'm okay with it, but I oppose it on various grounds. Number one, let's start back with the background. They said it approved, it was passed planning and zoning. It did pass 5-1. One commissioner could not get on the meeting and go to meeting because at the same time we had a special meeting here and we had another commission meeting at the convention center and IT couldn't handle it. They both had the same address, IP link. So this is a matter of principle and on the record, whenever city clerk staff here, when they have special meetings, they shouldn't look at the regularly scheduled meetings and make sure that there's a separate IP link for the go to meetings. Otherwise, the vote would have been 5-2. It could have been possible with another commissioner being able to be part of the discussion. The vote would have not been 5-2. The 10-foot, if he can put his drawing back on. I understand that the property owners want to add carports and that kind of stuff. Most of the houses when they were originally built had a carport had a garage, and sometime during the lifespan required that they sacrifice the space for the vehicles, for another kid, game room, whatever it is. So what we're trying to do is give them another option here, which I do not agree with. If you've ever heard the comments that Roswell looks a little bit better than some of the other communities in this part of the state, part of it is because Roswell has had stricter and enforced community development ordinances. By doing this, I think we're opening a can of worms. Councilor Pesa already alludes to it. When you have a carport, then 10 years from now, the council will be, committees will be presented to let's start filling them up. And we don't want to do that. That's more safety issues. There's not enough regulation shown on this one to be attached or detached. I think they would just make it look tacky in the neighborhoods. As you drive home, as you drive around, drive your neighborhood and now start envisioning all these carports 10 feet from the property line. That's why we have setbacks. That's why we have rules. Why is this coming before you? Because we have too many people complaining because they couldn't get it done. Well, do we change rules for criminals that they can't get away with it? There's rules. Certain times we have to be the rules. Certain times we have to enforce these rules. The city engineer, I'm forced to do it a lot. Not the most favorite person, but public health and safety and quality of life. That's what this is right now. As you see on his green line, when you have the carport, he already stated that the average vehicle is about 18 feet. If you're 10 feet away, you're not going to park in the carport because mama, grandma, dad's already in there. So you're going to park right behind it. Now you're blocking the sidewalk, which is against the law. And we already have enough of that. Again, we have a P&Z commission to handle variances, to look at it case by case. Those people that did not have it approved did not want to spend $100 to take it to the Planning and Zone Commission and be reviewed case by case. The $400? Okay, $400 to have it reviewed. It's changed over the years. But that's what the Planning and Zoning Commission's for, to look at variances, case by case basis. I'm also uncomfortable with the language that the community development staff shall have discretion to alter measurements. It doesn't say which direction they're going to alter. That kind of leaves it open. In similar committees we've had, who's going to have the ability to make changes. But again, community development staff is not always qualified with education or experience. Again, this is public health and safety, quality of life. I think it's too open. So as far as what we have before you right now, again, I oppose the changing of the setbacks. That's why we have rules. That's why we have a Planning and Zone Commission. And I ask that you not approve this part. On the fence part, I do approve it. But the way life is going and people fear for their security, it used to be 4-foot front fences. We have been allowing them 5 to 6 foot on case by case basis, but this would make it 6 foot because people are more scared now and they want to keep their yards, their dogs. More people are getting dogs to the front yard safe. By having it a 6-foot fence that you can see through, then police can also sue as they patrol it. They can also patrol for the safety of your neighborhood. And you have the fence that's either chain link, which is not so good looking, but that's beauty's in the eye of the beholder. A lot of them are coming in with the wrought iron, which is. But again, it's for their safety, quality of life, and security. And we're taking care of the safety part to be able to see through, especially at the corners. And you want to be able to, as you're backing out of your driveway, you want to have clearance to look both directions. And so you don't want a fence to block it. But you don't want a carport with the car sitting there either. So that's my comments, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, I got a question, but Hess is in front of
Oh,
me.
no, please, Counselor.
So, Mr. Engineer,
Yes, sir.
are you suggesting that we just delete section E in its entirety? Or do you have some different footage like,
I have no other footage. I like the rules as they stand. I would just oppose this change.
so you're asking us to delete
On that
section E? How about or attached, not enclosed? Right above it, D there. Under section 5, page 42 or 3 of 15, I don't know what you've got.
Yeah, basically, I have the same as you. Basically what that is, I've never seen them detached. Typically, that's your front porch where you can sit there and I'm okay with that part. D, I'm okay with, non-enclosed port, and I still call it a carport, but, I'm opposed to, paragraph E. Counselor.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, I do want to clarify a couple of things. So first, the variance standard is unnecessary hardship, which is a circumstance in which no reasonable use can otherwise be made of the land. So variance is in fact not an option. If you look at the size of this, the way the carport structure is written, and this is, legal takes no official position, but be aware, effectively what the code provides for right now is that people who can't afford large lots by law can't have carports. It's a potential property issue. Now, the zoning code provides for health, safety, and aesthetics. Those are well-established rights of the city. I'm just encouraging you to consider that because the variance really isn't an option for a lot of carports, but like I said, you guys are the policymakers, but those are the policy implications of what's being determined.
Thank you. Yes, Councilman.
I just want to make sure I understand your comments. If you can't change variances from what they are right now.
Yeah, so
because of public.
Right, so the legal standard of a variance in the Roswell Code requires unnecessary hardship. And the courts typically require that to be a tremendous hardship. Like my lot is a triangle because the city owns part of it for a park, therefore I can't build a normal house on it. We would give a variance for that because otherwise the land's value is wiped out. But for something like this, you really wouldn't be able to say there's an unnecessary hardship. You knew the setbacks coming in. So I bet unless there's a really unusual fact set, I wouldn't advise a variance be granted for any carport.
Okay. All right.
Just to touch on that too, several vehicles parking behind the carport there blocking the sidewalk. Vehicles are already doing that anyway, whether there's a carport there or not. Adding a carport doesn't change that. They're already parking.
Yeah. Is there anyone else who'd like to say anything?
Whenever you're ready for some motions, let me know.
Okay. Anyone would like to make a motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to delete section E found starting on line 45, page 3 of 15 of the ordinance, or page 42 in your packet, continuing on down to 7, on page 4 of 15 of 43. Leave the fencing alone. Let's take this carport stuff out.
Okay, I get a second.
Second.
Okay. So, I'm going to call for a vote on that amendment. I guess that's what I'm supposed to do, right? If I can get a vote on the amended changes to remove section E from line 45 to line 7. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Aye. So, okay, so we actually have a vote of 2-0, 2 in favor, 1 opposition. Let's go ahead. I guess we now vote on the full thing as amended. If I could get a motion.
My turn?
The motion is already on the table.
No.
No, that was a motion.
That was a motion on the amendment.
Okay.
Strike section E in its entirety in case there's need to be clarified.
So section E's gone.
Well, and it's important to point out, it's for reading.
Yeah, this-
Not to take action.
This is for advertisement.
We'll see the end result of the full council.
It may end up back in there. I don't know.
It might be.
Okay, so if I could get a vote on the amended ordinance 23-XX, recommend authorize for
I forgot
advertising.
whose turn it was.
Huh?
I forgot whose turn it was.
Yours?
Mine. All right. Madam,
Take the amended one.
move ordinance 23XX for advertisement at public hearing to the full city council as amended.
Second.
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor of moving ordinance 23-XX as amended to full council to advertise for a public hearing to consider adoption of the proposed ordinance, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those not in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, so we have a vote of 2-0. 2-1. Thank you, guys. I keep forgetting myself.
Let's count.
I do count, guys. I do. Okay, very good. All right. So we'll go ahead and move forward. All right, so let's go ahead and consider item number 4, ordinance 23-XX, amending the dedication of municipal local option gross receipts tax. Consider recommending to authorize to advertise for public hearing. This is an advertisement for public hearing. Ordinance 23-XX, amending the dedication of the municipal local option gross receipts tax. Councilman, like to add?
It says initiated by Councilor Robert Korn.
So,
That's me.
Councilor Korn.
Chairperson, what has happened is when this was first enacted by the city of Roswell, state law dictated what we could use the money for. Since then, the legislature, wisdom has changed it to where we can just move it into general fund. And that's what this basically does, is reports to make us in compliance with present state law.
So, I'm sorry. I'll say something. Mr. Councilman, or Pesa, do you have anything? I was just for Pesa, so I had to fit that councilman in. Okay.
That's all right. I'll take either one.
Okay. All right. Questions? Does anyone in the audience have any questions or online?
We make a motion?
Did we? Was I supposed? No.
As explained in the bill.
Okay, now so I'm supposed to make a motion first?
Somebody's supposed to make.
Okay, so can I get a motion?
Move it on.
Well, I know I still have comments to make, so that's.
Well, you better do that.
Okay, well,
You might talk me out of it.
That's my goal.
Good luck.
No. I just wanted to see if anyone online or anyone in the audience. No? Okay. So I have a couple concerns with this. I understand that you're actually just kind of cleaning up law. I think a lot of my concern is how it was previously used incorrectly for demolitions in Ward 1. I don't think there's anything kind of stopping it from being directed that except the power of the purse. But at the same time, our funds, the echo is killing me.
No, claustrophobic, don't close the store.
Just ask them to quiet it down and take it outside.
It's an echo.
Yeah. The meeting is being viewed over there.
When it was Mr. Nahar there, he sounded like a president. You know, how that when you're listening to like a campaign or something and there's a big echo, it doesn't sound the same for me. Okay. Thank you. That's fixed. Currently, as I understand, this is written for funding to go for infrastructure for our sanitation and water departments. That's how it was.
That was the original intent, state legislature.
Right. And considering the current state of our sanitation and water departments, I'm a little bit apprehensive just to put money out there willy-nilly. And I understand that what you're doing is just cleaning up stuff. And I still have time to think about this if we actually put it out to authorize and advertise for a public hearing. So those are just my 2 cents. Anyone else have any comments or thoughts?
Just for clarification.
Yes.
This, as far as I was able to understand it, this is not increasing or initiating a tax increase. It's just making sure that it is being used for the right purpose that it was intended for.
It's cleaning up.
The city of Roswell has not been following this right now very well. They throw a few pennies at it and take the dollar somewhere else. And I think that this just flows from a line item that we have to keep track of in the budget into the general fund. And then we can take that money and use it wherever we deem fit. And basically, that's kind of been happening anyway. I can't tell you, council lady, that this money has gone to demolition of property. I can't tell you that. I don't think our city manager can tell you that. I don't see anybody from our finance team can say that this dollar that was collected from this gross receipts actually went to the demolition of anything. That's another.
I get it. I know it's untraceable. I understand.
All this is just to clean up the change of the flow of things in Santa Fe. That's all this is.
Can we actually track whether any of this funding actually went to where it was supposed to have been allocated per policy?
I can't answer that question. I've been told that some of it probably did. We've got some employees of the city that says that they're being robbed already of this money. So, I mean, I'm just, you've heard me say for a year now that the law changes, we got to figure out a way to keep step with the current law. We can't be just sticking our head in the sand and doing what we want to do because it catches up with you anyway. So this is just an attempt to take that, what is it, 16th of a cent, if I remember correctly, and put it in general fund, because I can tell you that from my understanding of the budget, most of it's ending up there now anyway.
Right. So, no, I totally respect the, cleaning up the legal part. I guess I always believe that with great power comes responsibility, and sometimes we're human, and allocating it and having a purpose for it is actually so, but that's just where and I'm just 1 of 10. So my personal opinion actually can be 1 of 10 and yours can still be more effective. So.
Well, I don't know about that. But, I can't say that this was always improperly used or if it's just something that's occurred. Do you happen to know, council, the date of the original enactment of this?
17, it was enacted middle of 2017. It's pretty much always been used not for its dedicated purpose.
Okay, there you go. He's looked at it. And I've looked at it, but I can't. If you put it down on a piece of paper where I can follow it, that's one thing, but I can't follow this.
Yeah.
Never have been able to. And then we changed our computer system and our finance stuff, and any of those records before that, good luck finding anything in there. It can be done, but it takes a lot of somebody's time to go through and dig through and find that stuff.
Right.
And you're talking to an old, Mr. Nahar's all quiet there all of a sudden. But I think he will agree with Mr. Burris that going back in those old historical records can be problematic.
It's a pain. It's the old green screen.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
so let's just keep trying to get us back in alignment with current state law. That's what this is.
And this is also just to authorize to advertise for public hearing, because I would like to hear what the public has to say. So I'm going to go ahead, and if there's no further comments, I'm going to go ahead and ask for a motion.
It's your turn.
Yes, sir. Madam Chair, I move to send to full council a recommendation to authorize to advertise for a public hearing for proposed ordinance 23X6, amending the dedication of a municipal local option gross receipts tax.
Second.
Okay. Right, considering that we have a motion and a second to send to full council amending the dedication of municipal local option gross receipts tax, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so it passes 3-0. I think that, look at that go, guys. We are awesome. We're now down to the non-action items. Okay, so number 6, department reports. Oh, okay. Actually, I have a city clerk first, but I'll let you go, Ms. Renee, if you'd like to.
Okay, for the month of April, the city hired 14 new hires, 5 promotions, we had 21 exits and 1 retirement. As of April 18th, we had 64 vacancies. Of those 64 vacancies, 16 are CDL drivers. We are working with a couple of agencies, the city and CDL trainer in, but we're working on the job description, working some things with DOT first. Any questions?
I have a question. The 64 vacant positions, you said how many were?
CDL 16.
16, and how many of those are individuals that earn less than 15?
They're actually at $15. They're a little bit above $15. It's
15.
No, I'm not talking about the
$15.84.
I'm not talking about the CDL, just in general.
Oh.
Out of the 64, how many are in the range below $15 an hour?
Anyone?
Yes, Ms. Rita.
Again, I just want to know how many of those are sanitation?
Those, sanitation's 11.
Madam Chair, may I?
Yes, go ahead.
Craig Manovich, Utility Workers Union of America. Out of those 64 vacancies, how many of those vacancies are part of UWUA Local 51?
$25.
25. If I may, one more question. What is the average pay rate for those 25? Is it below $17 an hour?
Yes.
Thank you for that information.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're good? All right. Madam Clerk?
Madam Chair, members of the legal committee, for the month of March, we had a total of 67 inspections of public records requests. And then our daily agendas, minutes, preparing for city council, just our daily tasks. On April the 18th, the clerk and the deputy clerk both attended certification workshops, and the clerk's financial officer spring meeting. The clerk's office is working on getting their certification for the CMC. And I stand for questions.
Any questions? Okay. So safety.
Yes. In the month of March, we had a total of 36 incidents. We had, which was a few less than the month before. We're very proud of that. In your report, you see it broken down by the different departments. And one of the questions last month was how many of those were motor vehicle accidents? And we had 11 motor vehicle accidents, with 8 of those being caused by third party. 8 of the 11 were caused by third party. So we were down on those numbers also. Stand for any questions.
I actually have a couple.
Yes, ma'am.
On those 8 that were third party, do we have like a compliance department that helps address the insurance company, the third party's insurance company? How do we get reimbursed for that? I know it's.
So I file a claim with third party
Okay.
insurance, yes. And we work through that claim to get that recovered money.
Okay, so you handle all of that, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then the other one is are we the only agency that you report these to? Is there any OSHA requirements or anything out there that you have to report as far as additional regarding public safety?
We do have OSHA reports that we do annually, sometimes quarterly if they ask.
Okay.
We have reports that we do for any time that we have inspections also. Then if there's an inspection from OSHA or from a different regulatory agency, we have to apply to that.
Okay. Are you stationed here? Where's your headquarters? Okay, you're with her. Okay, all right. Okay, I kind of felt like you were at home, but I wasn't sure if you were out there with Mr. Burris or something like that. Okay, all right.
I'm out there.
Any further questions?
Yep.
Okay, Councilman Oropesa.
When you look at the report for incident comparisons for January, February, March, in comparison to 2022 and 2021, they seem extremely high.
Yes, sir.
Is there a reason why it's such an increase?
If I do reports on all accidents and incidents involving city people or properties, and I record them all.
Okay.
Before it wasn't being done by the previous safety person, she was just tracking our accidents. It wasn't every incident that we were having.
Okay, so the information from 2022 and 2021 is not, what you compared in 2023 is not the same comparison?
Yes, sir. You're getting all the information.
Okay, because it seems extremely high.
Yes.
Yes, sir. I see the differences. When you have, from 2022, you only had 5 reports in March and 2 reports in 2021 for March. I understand that there's a discrepancy, and I put all the information in there, and I don't skew any numbers. Not that it was done before. I have no direct knowledge of what was done prior to me being here.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry.
If you're gonna sit in the middle of the table, you gotta look both ways.
I know, and I really need to look behind me too. Sorry, guys.
Well, I was gonna give them permission just to get your attention. So, is this showing up as a training issue maybe, or is this just random different things all over the place?
So anytime there's an accident or incident, I look for not only the cause, but a solution. And I always try to see how we can mitigate that. And yes, many times training is the answer. And many times we can handle it on the spot. And sometimes we need to go ahead and present training citywide when it's happening in more than one department.
Sound like you're on top of it. That's good.
Burris.
Madam Chair, I just want to make a comment real quick about the safety department. She does a great job coming out to an accident site and actually doing an investigation and not doing it over the phone.
Here, here.
So I want to give her kudos for
Kudos.
putting out the effort. So, thank you.
Again, sorry. Again, Craig Ramirez, Utility Workers Union of America. Sounds like you're doing a great job and we appreciate you making a strong effort to improve the safety within the community of Roswell. I do have a question in regards to Local 51. Is there a joint safety committee in conjunction with union members that represent the union on safety with memberships of the administration or administrative staff?
The information that I have is that we have union members in different departments. I don't try to discriminate between them and any other worker, and I include them in all training that we offer.
There's not a committee right now. There was a committee pre-COVID that has stopped. We haven't brought it back. We just barely got our city managers to return to which direction we need to go. So we plan on bringing that committee back where we have a mixture. That's what we had before, before COVID.
Understood. And just to expand on that a little bit, we do have a National Safety Committee. We have several representatives here in this room. I would like to suggest reaching out through the Local 51 to our national, come down and maybe work with you hand in hand on establishing a very good, strong safety committee, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure all workers, not just our union members, but all workers get home safe.
And my goal is that we're all a team. It does not depend on what department in the city. Everybody needs to be a team for safety, right? All participate in everything.
Appreciate hearing that.
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
very much.
Okay, I think that's all of ours. I'm sorry, Ms. Rita.
It's Rita again. How many of those are sanitation?
Sanitation, we had 5 incidences with 3 being third party. Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Some of those were a fire.
okay, I think that's all. Any other questions or anything like that? So the next thing is a closed session. Can I get a motion to actually put us into closed session?
Oh, thank you. Madam Chair, I move that we open the whole closed session pursuant to NMSA 1978-15-1H, subpart 7, to review client privilege information regarding litigation either threatened or ongoing.
Means I can go with you.
Okay.
Roll call. Go do a roll call.
Okay, do we need a second on that?
Second.
Okay, if you guys are gonna leave, I need you to actually be quiet, so we're still meeting. Okay, so, Councilman Ortega, so you said second? Second. Okay. All right. So we need to do, I was just informed and educated, we have to do a roll call, so Tish, call the names, baby.
Madam Chair Arnold,
Oh, yes, yes.
Councilor Corn,
Yes.
and Councilor Fissa.
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Are you going to get leave or do I have it?
You have to leave.
So let's do it twice.
Bye. Have a good day. Make sure all your guys are still at work.
They are.
Oh, they could be off.
Jack, and then that's my business card. Thank you very much for your.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you.